Hi, I'm Tilly and I'm a PhD student at the Play and Education Development and Learning, or PEDAL, Research Centre at the University of Cambridge. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about an activity that you can support and encourage the families that you work with to do with their little ones called book sharing. Book sharing is not the same as book reading, and it's something that families can do with young children right from the start of life. It's a way that parents, grandparents, caregivers, and even older siblings can explore books with little ones by following the child's lead, talking about what catches their interest and making the interaction fun, engaging and playful. Families can book share with any book that they like, but it's usually a good idea, at least when starting out, to recommend that they start with picture books, as this can encourage the parents to focus on exploring the pictures and following their child's lead, as opposed to worrying about reading the words. I'm going to talk about some of the ways that you can support families to explore books, using some pictures and examples from some parents and their children who took part in Playtime with Books, a research study that we've been running at PEDAL for the last couple of years. These examples aim to show you what book sharing can look like and show that even when things don't go perfectly, what really counts is that the parent and child are having fun and enjoying their time together. One of the first things that we look for in a good book sharing interaction is something that we call parental sensitivity. All this means is that the parent or caregiver is attuned to their child's signals. They know that their child is trying to tell them something, they know what their child is trying to tell them, and they know how to respond. When a parent is sensitive during book sharing, they know that their child is engaged and wants to explore, and they let them do just that. They let their child hold the book and move through the book as they would like. This might mean holding the book upside down, moving through it back to front, or even just open and closing the same page. You can let parents know that they don't need to worry that this might look a little bit unconventional. As children grow up, look at more books, and get better at holding the book, turning the pages, and following the story, they will start to pick up the kinds of behaviours that we expect to see during reading. For now, all we need to worry about is that they are engaging with books and learning to have fun while looking at them. When parents are sensitive during book sharing and let their child explore the book in the way that they would like, this really encourages children to engage with looking at the book and motivates them to keep exploring. In these pictures, even though mum is holding the book and supporting it to stay open, the little girl has complete freedom over how they explore it. She's sat close to her mum, but with freedom to move and turn the pages as she would like, and mum has a clear view of her daughter's face and what she's looking at in the book. This means that the little girl can give her mum really clear signals to show her what she finds interesting. She might flick back and forth between the same pages, she might look at a picture for a really long time, or she might pull the book in really, really close so that she can get a good look at what she's found on the page. When children are allowed to explore like this, they are much more likely to stay focused on the book for longer. Parents can stay attuned to what their child finds interesting by looking at their child's face and following their gaze, their points, or their hand gestures. Once parents know that their child is engaged with the book and they are following their child's lead, parents can help their child stay focused on the book for longer by supporting and praising their exploration. When book sharing interactions are fun and engaging for children, they are much more likely to want to keep looking at the book in the moment and are more likely to want to look at books again in the future. Parents can help make book sharing extra engaging by commenting on the things that their child shows them or by talking about the things that they can see their child is interested in. Parents can also praise their child to let them know that they're doing a good job. Praise and commenting become even more meaningful and rewarding when accompanied by eye contact, a smile and a warm hug. All of this lets children know that their parents are interested in what interests them. Parents can also support their child's engagement by encouraging independent exploration. The trick is to encourage parents to hold back just a little bit so that their child can have a go first. For example, this little girl is really young and holding and turning the book is still quite tricky for her. So, mum is holding the book open for her and supporting it to stay open, but she's letting her daughter have a go at turning the pages herself. In this moment, it actually took the little girl 3 or 4 tries before she managed to turn the page. But mum held back, and in doing so, she allowed her daughter the chance to experience independent success. If the little girl continued to struggle, mum could have slipped her thumb under the page and lifted it just a little bit so that her daughter could get a better grip. This small amount of help means that children get to give something a go, but also means that they don't get discouraged if something is a little bit too challenging. Providing children with warmth, encouragement, and an opportunity for independence can really encourage their exploration. Children who are supported in this way are much more likely to stay focused and engaged with the book for longer. Increased independence helps children to keep trying, as long as they know that their parent is close by with help and support in case they really need it. So by now, parents know that their child is engaged and that they are happy exploring the book, and the child knows that their parent thinks that they are doing a good job. What parents can do next is create something that we call joint attention. This is just when two people are focused on the same thing, looking at it and talking about it together. Parents can encourage joint attention by following their child's lead, like we've already talked about, looking where their child is looking, following their child's point, and then pointing at that same thing and then talking to their child about what it is they are looking at together. In these pictures, you can see that Mum has noticed that her child's attention has been caught by the monkey and the lion hugging in the top corner of the page. You can also see just how animated Mum is. In this moment, Mum gasped when she realised that her child's attention had been caught. She then pointed at the lion and the monkey, labelled them for her daughter, and talked to her about how they were hugging. This might have sounded a bit like, "Look at the monkey and the lion, they're hugging." By gasping and pointing, parents make a really big deal out of their child finding something in the book interesting. This really helps children to focus on what it is that they and their parent are talking about. It also provides a really nice learning opportunity for the parent to give just a little bit more information to their child about what it is that they are focusing on. So in this moment, the little girl learns that she and Mum are looking at a lion and a monkey and they are hugging each other. Once a parent and a child are looking at and thinking about the same thing together, you might notice some patterns emerging. These patterns look a little bit like a tennis rally and are how you might expect a conversation to look or sound, with one person doing or saying something, the second person doing or saying something in return, and then the first person going again. For example, in these pictures, the mum and her little boy have been looking at a book where babies are playing on pots and pans like musical instruments. The little boy stands up and bangs on the sofa like it's a drum. He pauses and looks at Mum. Mum looks back and drums on the sofa herself. She then stops and the little boy goes again. They are taking it in turns to act out what they've seen in the book, a little bit like a conversation. Sometimes children might start this conversation, like in these pictures, or the parent might start the conversation, like in these next photos. Mum and her little boy are still thinking about the musical instruments from the book, but this time they're blowing trumpets, and this time Mum starts the conversation. Mum holds her hand up to her mouth and says, "Toot toot." She pauses and looks at her son. He then looks back, copies her, he stops, and she goes again. These drumming and tooting conversations go on for a couple of minutes. Exchanges like this will look a little bit different for each child, depending on their age and developmental ability. Older children, like the little boy in these pictures, might be able to stay engaged for a minute or even longer, and their exchanges are likely to have quite a few back and forths. Younger children, however, will probably only stay engaged for 1 or 2 exchanges before moving on to something else. When children do lose interest or move on to something new, that's completely normal and is to be expected. It just means doing a little bit of readjusting. The important thing is that parents return to the earlier step of following their child's lead, looking at what their child is interested in, pointing at it and talking to them about it. It also doesn't matter, when moving on to something new, if the parent and child initially focus on something different. The child might refocus on what their parent has pointed at, or the parent could readjust and look where their child is looking and talk to them about what they have found. Creating and supporting these conversations or back and forth patterns of interaction is where the magic happens in book sharing. When parents and children come together in a conversation over the pictures and books that they're looking at, even if this conversation involves sounds and actions rather than words, this creates joyful, meaningful moments of connection. Just like this little girl and her mum, who are reenacting the moment that Santa falls down the chimney and into the room in the book that they're looking at. You can see just how much fun the two of them are having. The little girl grins in anticipation as Mum holds her hand and helps her do a really big jump before she falls into Mum's lap. Not only are they having fun, look how special the hug that they share at the end is. Taking part in these reciprocal back and forth exchanges can help parents and their children connect, bond, and really have fun together. When parents and children share meaningful, special interactions like this, their relationship is supported. Making book sharing fun helps children to see that this is a dedicated, special time that they get to be with and enjoy their parent. It also helps to prepare children for interacting with other people and for making friends. So to recap, Book sharing is a special way for parents and their children to explore books together. It can really help if the parent starts by following their child's lead, looking where their child is looking or looking at what it is that their child is pointing at. Parents can let their child hold the book themselves and work through it in any way that they like. This encourages children to really look for something that catches their interest and to keep exploring. When parents can see that their child is focused on something, they can encourage this even more by looking at their child, smiling and praising their exploration. Parents may need to gently support their child's exploration. They can do this by letting their child have a go at a challenge, like holding the book themselves or turning the page. But if the child keeps struggling, a small act like popping a finger under a page or holding the book out in front of them can be really helpful. Once a child is absorbed in something that they find interesting, parents can talk about it. Gasping and using a lively voice will really bring to life what the child is looking at, making it even more interesting, which makes this a great moment for the child to learn more about what they and their parent are looking at. Looking at, talking about and acting out the book together can create moments of back and forth interaction between parent and child. These conversations make book sharing fun and meaningful and will nurture and support the parent-child relationship. This special dedicated time can become really important to children, and parents may find their child asking to spend time and look at books with them even more. I really hope that you found this video interesting and helpful, and that you might think about supporting the families and parents that you work with to try out book sharing with their little ones. If you would like to learn any more about book sharing or the work that we do at Parental, including opportunities to take part in our research, you can head to the Playtime with Books page on our website. Thank you, bye.